Hey, Bridget.
Hey, Althea.
Hi, Anindo.
Hello, Shelby.
Everybody, bring your calabash, bring your calabash. Mofe moke chani apa, why what no coco. Everybody, bring your calabash, bring your calabash. Mofe moke chani apa, why what no coco. Everybody, bring your calabash, bring your calabash. Mofe moke cheniaba, why what no coco. Everybody, bring your calabash, bring your calabash. Mofe moke cheniaba, why what no coco. Why what no coco. Why what no coco. Why what no coco. Why what no coco.
It's almost like everybody bring your plate.
Yeah, bring your plate. Let's sit down by the table.
Okay,
and talk.
like to the potluck.
Yes.
Exactly.
Village potluck is every day,
Wow.
which
Yeah.
is so beautiful.
It is.
Right.
The structure of the song is call and response, inherited by the spiritual. So yeah, it relating to how in the Black community bring your plate. Yes, it is very tied to how it transcended to the Americas.
Yeah, for centuries, in cultural, different cultures around the world, there is call and response. Somebody calls and you respond, and it's all about community. Because you're getting everyone together. It happens in spirituals when one calls, and it happens in churches as well when one calls and everyone responds. It's bringing together.
Yeah, and everybody has their place. So it's like you have the soloist doing the call. That's almost like inviting everybody to come into the conversation.
Yes.
Wade in the water, wade in the water, children, wade in the water. God's gonna trouble the water. See that band all dressed in white. God's gonna trouble the water. The leader look like the Israelite. God's gonna trouble the water. Wade in the water. Wade in the water, children. Wade in the water. God's gonna trouble the water. See that band all dressed in red. God's gonna trouble the water. It looks like the band that Moses led. God's gonna trouble the water. Wade in the water. Wade in the water, children. Wade in the water. God's gonna trouble 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 the water.
Margaret Bonds and her piece Troubled Water, composed in 1967. It's a very, very beautiful arrangement based on the spiritual Wade in the Water. I don't know what Bonds' personal connection was with the spiritual, but the piece Troubled Water has been performed by many pianists all over the world, and of course in the United States as well. And I had the honor of recording it in 1993. It's on an album that I did for Cambria Master Recordings. It's a piece with both classical and jazz elements, and I was saying to a friend of mine, it gives pianists a chance to show off, show what they can do. It is a great tribute to her genius as well, because she supported herself by doing many, many different arrangements back in the period of the Harlem Renaissance. And she lived in Los Angeles for a short period of time before her death. The tragedy, of course, is that she did not leave a will or any written instructions about what was supposed to happen to her music. But the music that is out there, of course, is really quite wonderful. The spiritual, I'm sure, has some kind of a hidden meaning in it that only the slaves could account for and relate to.
Juba was secret codes within songs that slaves used to tell each other messages. Wow. For instance, Wade in the Water is what the slaves were escaping to go up north. You know, they didn't want to be slaves anymore, they were escaping. So other slaves along the route, when they saw the slaves escaping, and then masters behind them, they would start to sing Wade in the Water, telling the slaves that are escaping to jump into the water because the masters are coming with dogs, and once they're in the water, the dogs don't smell their scent anymore. Wow.
And those Juba songs, they literally, Juba songs and also inflections, they survived until today. I found out recently that, you know, something that we all do, that actually has roots in Juba, which meant masses coming.
That's amazing. And that just seems like something we just all do. Like, we just agreeing with each other, like,
right.
but wow.
But it's amazing how history just continues.
Yeah. And we're all still rooted to our past.
And also water. You know, when you talk about water, water has so many meanings. Religion is used in just cleansing our physical and spiritual self.
But also water, it's reflective, but it's also reflective of spirit. And some people speak intention into the water. In Native American traditions, they speak intention into the water. And you can also even use water as a percussive instrument as well, which is amazing. I've heard some
amazing,
compositions of water percussion. And that roots from Africa.
Yes,
and you know, the imagery of water, rivers is, you know, a powerful motif in Black American history as well.
Oh yeah, Langston Hughes poem.
I've known rivers. I've known rivers ancient as the world and older than the flow of human blood in human veins. My soul has grown deep like the rivers. I have bathed in the Euphrates when dawns were young. I built my hut near the Congo, and it lured me to sleep. I looked upon the Nile and raised the pyramids above it. I heard the singing of the Mississippi when Abe Lincoln went down to New Orleans, and I have seen the muddy bosoms turn all golden in the sunset. I've known rivers, ancient, dusky rivers. My soul has grown deep like the rivers.
Sometimes I feel like a motherless child. Sometimes I feel like a motherless child. Sometimes I feel like a motherless child, and a long way from home, a long way from home.
So Motherless Child. Ooh, such a powerful song.
Yes.
What is it talking about?
So it's a song about being sold to slavery, of, you know, children being torn from their mothers, families being torn apart. Interesting. It's a new song to me, but as I was learning it, I kind of related it to today and how I've noticed that there's kind of a collective consciousness of Black people. You know, we're trying to find our
I mean,
home.
it is amazing the exodus that's happening right now with people trying to connect to the motherland.
Yes.
And it directly relates to loss of name,
Yes.
loss of family,
Yes.
loss of community. We need that.
Yes.
We want it back.
And I feel the song is an expression of the pain a woman would have of like hopelessness. And I think in society today, you find a lot of single women.
Yeah.
So that's a relation there, you know, being pulled away from one parent. There are lots of, in the African American community, a lot of single moms.
Yes,
Right.
Yes.
So I think that, you know, just this song goes so much deeper.
But yeah, having the family torn apart and then us today coming together and acknowledging that and knowing that our strength comes from the family unit.
Acknowledging it is a first step to healing, finding solutions.
And
Absolutely.
honoring that we are all in search of our true identity. You know, even our last names. You know,
Yes.
you know, this is not my last name,
Right,
my
right.
true last name. So
And Cage Bird, Maya Angelou's poem, it just always, it hits
so
in a
powerful.
place.
Yes.
Yeah.
It seems to talk about two birds. One bird that has freedom, and then the other bird that's caged. Kind of reminds me of being oppressed, you know, and being tied down, not only physically but also mentally.
It's almost like having your voice constricted.
And I feel that happened a lot this last year. There was a lot of oppression through the pandemic. People felt like caged birds. We were caged birds.
We
yes.
were, yeah.
I think the pandemic actually taught us a lot about ourselves, about our need for community, and how
Kinda forced
important
us to.
yeah, and how important your family unit is for survival. So a lot of lessons came out of this year.
This is a timeless poem. I think it'll always be necessary.
Every generation will be able to find something that they can relate to in that
Exactly.
poem, The Caged Bird. What a beautiful poem.
Yes,
indeed.
agreed. Yes. A free bird leaps on the back of the wind and floats downstream till the current ends and dips his wing in the orange sun rays and dares to claim the sky. But a bird that stalks down his narrow cage can seldom see through his bars of rage. His wings are clipped and his feet are tied, so he opens his throat to sing. The caged bird sings with the fearful trill of things unknown, but longed for still, and his tune is heard on the distant hill, for the caged bird sings of freedom. The free bird thinks of another breeze, and the trade winds soft through the sighing trees, and the fat worms waiting on a dawn-bright lawn, and he names the sky his own. But a caged bird stands on the grave of dreams. His shadow shouts on a nightmare scream. His wings are clipped and his feet are tied. So he opens his throat to sing. The caged bird sings with a fearful trill of things unknown but longed for still, and his tune is heard on the distant hill, for the caged bird sings of freedom. The Jim Crow laws.
Deja vu.
Right. Right. You know, laws basically stating or enforcing racial segregation in the South.
Well, the interesting part about the Jim Crow laws, during Reconstruction, after slavery, you know, Black Americans were really coming up. We had representation in the government, and when the racist people started to see our upward movement, they said, okay, we need to put them back in their place. So, yeah, that's where those Jim Crow laws came from. They really wanted to control the population of blacks in America.
They were trying
That
to make
could
us
vote.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
2020, 22, 20, 21, same thing happening right now.
Oh, yeah.
There's a lot of states, I was going to say countries, a lot of states in the South, the red states have now, they're having the same restrictive laws. They don't want brown and black people to vote. Why? because of
It's
the
power.
same movement, the a fear of losing power.
Yeah.
Yes,
They
the fear
don't
of
want
us.
to. Yeah, for years and years, I hate to say this, the white man has felt the need of oppressing people
Yeah.
and having power over them, going back to not only the United States but other African countries, the colonization of countries, taking over and keeping people oppressed for centuries now.
And keeping them mentally oppressed.
Yes.
Because
Yes.
a lot of the Jim Crow was based on aggression and then creating that fear. And actually just physical violence, extreme violence. And that made a lot of people in the South just not even want to deal with voting. It was beyond them knowing that they had power in the vote, but it was the idea that even if you went down to the courthouse, you might get beat up.
Wow.
You might get killed.
Yeah.
And so it's a painful part of history.
Absolutely.
We have to, as a people, not only African Americans or brown people, as a nation, stand up like we did in the 50s. I mean, there's protests going on that are going to stop this Jim Crow again, reliving, coming out from the
No,
dead.
but Black Lives Matters has made us stand up and actually say out loud, we matter.
Right.
Our history matters.
We matter too.
Yes.
That's what it's
We
saying.
matter.
We matter too.
It's letting the younger generation know what happened.
Yes.
And the younger generation is so powerful. They're the ones that are making the changes.
Yeah.
So they're the
Oh,
ones that are in
big
the
time.
front lines today.
Yeah, I'm
Yes.
very proud to be a part of that younger generation. Because we are the ones really truly taking agency over us. Speaking up, saying, we're not gonna take that anymore. We're not gonna take what was once is no longer.
Ain't gonna let nobody turn me around.
Like, turn me around. Yes, exactly.
Turn me around.
Yes.
If we don't learn from the past, we're going to keep repeating.
That's right.
And we don't want to repeat. We want to learn and make a change, a positive change, not only for us as black and brown people, but for the whole, all races.
No, we need to make the community multicultural and people feeling comfortable to express their cultural identity.
Right.
And everybody coming together and creating that beautiful collage of
Right.
folks.
Yes, absolutely. So, Jim Crow.
I grew up in New Orleans in the 40s and 50s when segregation was legal and rigidly enforced. And it was not until the 1954 Supreme Court decision, Brown versus Board of Education, which really demanded that the schools in all of the southern states should integrate, as the court said, with all deliberate speed. But of course, that's not exactly the way it happened. I mean, there were groups, far-right extremist groups and white supremacist groups throughout the South who really did everything that they could to stop that. It was not until, I would say, the late 70s or early 1980s that anything happened that was really, really about integrating the schools. There were many parents who said that they would rather die than send their children to school with black children. So all of that was going on. In terms of my own family, I grew up in a working class family, and we didn't have, as I say, any kind of special things. We were not wealthy. We grew up and we made do with the best that we had, but we always did everything in terms of the common good. It wasn't so much about what was good for us, but how we could help and serve other people in our community. And I still believe in that, of course, to this very, very day. My mother was a church soloist. I was raised as Catholic, and she sang for all of the masses in our church. My grandfather was very much a lover of music. He didn't play an instrument, but he listened to it all the time. And then I had uncles on my father's side who played in a lot of the jazz, the brass bands in New Orleans, the bands that...
A free bird leaps on the back of the wind and floats downstream to the current ends and dips his wing in the orange sun rays and dares to claim the sky. But a bird that stalks down his narrow cage can seldom see through his bars of rage. His wings are clipped and his feet are tied, so he opens his throat to sing.
What a boy, where Gonna tell your pop on you. There ain't no hammer on this mountain that'll ring like mine, boy. That'll ring like mine. Gonna bust this rock, boy, from here to the Macon, all the way to the jail, boy, all the way to the jail. What a boy! Where you hiding? If you don't come right here, gonna tell Pop on you.
The great Odetta,
Yes.
civil rights singer, and the importance of using your voice in the movement.
Right.
Yeah, and I think the importance of not only singing, but in that time of, during the civil rights movements, even before that, you had lots of artists who used their art to protest on stage, in songs, on theater, in dance. The importance of using art as a safe and very non-violent way of making a statement.
Her music was a straight line from the African spiritual. So, people really related to the spirit of her songs.
Why do you think her music and her sense of musicality spoke so deeply to people?
Well, what is the song about? How did Odetta make it visceral? Her phrasing, the use of her voice, that moved everyone. She was actually operatically trained.
But she was speaking, like any art form, she was expressing what the people were feeling. She was actually, for instance, Martin Luther King was a civil rights great legend.
Right.
He used the podium. She used her songs,
Her artistry.
her artistry to be able to get that message across.
As a form of activism.
Yes.
That's interesting.
An activist.
Right.
An artivist.
Artivist, right. An artivist, yes.
I just love that song, Waterboy.
Yes.
One of my favorites.
Powerful.
Yes.
Powerful.
The low beating of the tom-toms, the slow beating of the tom-toms, low, slow, slow, low, stirs your blood, dance. A night-veiled girl whirls softly into a circle of light, whirled softly, softly, like a wisp of smoke around the fire. And the tom-toms beat, and the tom-toms beat, and the low beating of the tom-toms stirs your blood.
Rosa Parks, I'm sure we have all seen the photograph of her sitting in the whites-only section of the bus. That photograph has been seen all over the world by now, and I think we all know that was the beginning of the Montgomery bus boycott. And as a result of all of that, all the buses in that part of the South were integrated. I mean, it took a while, but they lost a lot of, the bus line lost a lot of business as a result of that. Rosa Parks, of course, was an indomitable figure of bravery and courage to go through that. She knew that she was going to be arrested, but she carried on and continued the fight for civil rights, and certainly being able to sit anywhere on any bus in a state, whether it was a southern state or anything anywhere else. And that's my reaction to what she did, that it really was something that was courageous, very powerful. And of course, she obviously, I'm sure, must have had maybe some little semblance of fear, but it didn't show in the photograph. It's like feeling the fear and doing it anyway. She knew that she had a a purpose and a mission that she had to carry out.
I want to show you all a photo. This is a photo of a woman named Aisha Evans.
Oh, I remember this one.
Yes.
Oh,
Yes, she was 35 at the time of this photo and took a stand at the protest for the shooting of Alton Sterling back in 2016.
Oh my goodness.
That was an amazing time.
Right.
It is so powerful. Being an African American woman in a dress.
No, it
standing in front
symbolizes
of-
so many different things.
Yes.
Standing in front of these white men. It kind
Yes.
of reminds me of, remember in China, the
Tiananmen Square.
Tiananmen Square, there was a young man
Wow.
standing in front of this tankers. It has that same kind of...
And it has, they have to have so much courage.
Yes, absolutely. And she's standing there so poised and gracefully, like it.
And
You
it's
know?
similar to one of the photos that in the 60s where someone was putting a flower inside of the gun
Wow.
of the guards.
Goodness,
Like, yeah.
wow, my, that's
That's
so
beautiful.
brave,
Yeah,
so
that
brave.
I
That's
definitely can
amazing.
see that parallel.
I think, just that photo in itself, she's making the statement. She doesn't need to even speak.
No, she doesn't.
She's making the statement, and this photo is going to live for years to come.
Carry the generations forward.
Amazing.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's amazing because it was her first protest ever.
Wow.
Yeah.
See
her
how the
first
young
protest.
people are stepping up?
Right. Taking that stand.
Yeah. Ladies, give me 3 words that immediately come to your head with this woman. I'll start. Courage, strength, powerful. Bridget?
Ooh. Visceral. Eloquent. Prayerful.
Inspirational, fierce, and selfless.
Are you inspired by the words that come to mind when you say Rosa Parks?
Rosa Parks. We talked about her a little bit. She's another one that's beyond courage.
Yeah.
Womanhood.
Otherworldly.
Motherhood.
Yeah.
Mother, like a mother.
Yes.
Nurturing.
Nurturing, yes. How about Odetta?
Odetta. Oof. She's artistry.
I just see strength.
I was gonna say strength as well. Power.
Yeah, when she sings, it just, it comes like from...
Even the octave.
Yes.
Yeah, it's from
comes
down
soul,
there.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
soul, deep in
Yeah.
the soul.
Oh, freedom. Oh, freedom. Oh, freedom over me. And before I'll be a slave, I'll be buried in my grave and go home to my Lord and be free.
My name is Shelby Wayne, and this experience has been so enlightening for me. I learned so much and made me happy, even happier to be a Black woman.
Hi, my name is Bridget Graham, and for me, it has just brought me home to my love of history and my love of community and sharing and bringing forth song, poetry, and all the things in the arts that just create life.
I also want to thank Ganindo and the ladies for inviting me to participate in the Moon Room. It's a very, very important way to express our thoughts and comments about not only what is happening now in the world, but also to share some experiences about our own lives and what we have come to believe, and to think about ways that we can share and express some of the things that have happened to us. So thank you for allowing me to do this, and carry on. I'm Althea Waits. Thank you for listening.
I'm Aninda Marshall, and this experience has been so enlightening, and it's also been, it's important, it told me how important it is that we tell these stories as artists. It's important that we continue to tell these stories, even though they were from back during civil rights movement, back during slavery. It's important that we continue telling this history so that we can shape our future. Because if we don't know our history, how would we know what our future is going to be?
Ladies, let's make the future bright.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Yes.
This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Whoa, this little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Oh yeah, let it this shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Right. This little light of mine, can you feel it? I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Whoa, let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine.
Know your past in the present to shape the future.
The journey continues with the episodic novel Mercury's Wake by Stephanie Vlahos, now available to read on Kindle.